The security footage would later show the precise moment everything changed for Sophia Chen, though at the time she sat calmly at her usual corner table in Tony's pizzeria, methodically working through another slice of margarita pizza while algebra homework spread across the red Formica surface. The timestamp read 3:47 p.m., when 5 figures entered through the glass doors, their coordinated movement catching her peripheral attention, even as she maintained focus on quadratic equations. Sophia had learned long before her 16th birthday that survival meant constant awareness. Growing up in a military family stationed across 3 continents had taught her to read situations the way other teenagers read social media. Every room had exits, every person had intentions, and every peaceful moment carried the potential for sudden change. Her father, Master Sergeant David Chen, hadn't deliberately trained his daughter like a soldier, but 15 years of following deployments and living on bases where security briefings mentioned daily threats had created habits that civilian life couldn't erase. The 5 young men approaching her table moved with practiced coordination that suggested previous rehearsals. Marcus Rivera led the group with the natural authority of someone accustomed to deference, his Letterman jacket and perfectly styled hair announcing his position in the local hierarchy. At 17, he carried himself with the confidence that came from never facing real consequences, his smile containing the particular warmth reserved for moments when he controlled all variables. Tyler Brennan flanked Marcus on the right, his wrestler's build and slow movements advertising physical threat without verbal confirmation. Standing 6 feet 4 inches with hands that looked capable of crushing objects significantly larger than teenage necks, he represented the group's enforcement capability. His academic struggles were well documented, though his family's generous contributions to the athletic department ensured those struggles never translated into athletic ineligibility. Jordan Walsh handled the technological aspects of their operations, his smartphone already recording as they approached Sophia's table. Multiple social media accounts under his management had built impressive followings through content that documented the humiliation of students who failed to understand Riverside High's social hierarchies. His parents believed his digital expertise would lead to lucrative careers in marketing, unaware that his skills focused on destruction rather than creation. Alex Morrison served as the group's psychological specialist, his advanced placement psychology courses providing academic cover for studying manipulation techniques that he applied with clinical precision. His soft-spoken approach and apparent empathy drew information from targets before they realized they were providing ammunition for future attacks. His mother's practice as a licensed therapist had given him access to professional literature that most teenagers never encountered. Kevin Price represented the group's wild card element, his desperate need for acceptance making him willing to cross boundaries that even the others found uncomfortable. His unpredictability stemmed from fear rather than confidence, creating a dangerous combination of recklessness and expendability that made him useful for operations requiring plausible deniability. The elderly couple near the window continued their crossword puzzle without looking up as the 5 students formed a loose semicircle around Sophia's table. The businessman conducting heated negotiations about quarterly projections over his phone showed no awareness of the developing situation. The mother, preventing her toddler from climbing into the play area, remained focused on immediate parenting challenges rather than teenage social dynamics unfolding 3 tables away. Sophia set down her pizza slice with the same measured precision that characterized all her movements, her hands remaining visible on the table surface while her back maintained military posture against the vinyl booth cushioning. Her breathing followed the 4-count pattern her father had taught her for managing stress responses, a technique that had served her well during their posting to installations where incoming rocket alarms were weekly occurrences. Marcus's opening gambit followed the script that had proven effective against previous targets, his tone carefully modulated to suggest generosity rather than threat. "Sophia, right? I'm Marcus Rivera, student body president. We've noticed you eating lunch alone, and nobody should feel isolated in our community." His introduction carried the weight of local prominence, designed to impress rather than intimidate. "Why don't you join our table tomorrow? We'll introduce you to the right people, show you around town, help you settle in properly." Tyler's contribution reinforced the group's protective capabilities while hinting at consequences for those who rejected their friendship. "My dad owns Brennan's Fitness downtown. Full membership, personal training sessions, access to the good equipment. Military kids usually appreciate staying in fighting shape, and we take care of our friends." The underlying message suggested that friendship came with concrete benefits, while opposition might result in lost opportunities. Jordan's approach focused on social media integration, his phone displaying Sophia's sparse Instagram profile as he spoke. "I could make you locally famous. 1,000 followers easy, connections to all the influential accounts, invitations to the parties that actually matter. New girl transformation videos always go viral, and you've got the look for it." His fingers scrolled through filtered images of previous subjects, their social elevation clearly documented in engagement metrics and follower counts. Alex targeted emotional vulnerabilities with practiced empathy, his voice carrying clinical precision disguised as genuine concern. Transition stress is incredibly common among military dependents. I've been reading about it in my psychology coursework. My parents have connections at several universities, scholarship opportunities, academic support systems. Smart girls like you shouldn't have to struggle alone when help is available. The financial incentives escalated throughout the following week, each offer accompanied by increasing pressure and decreasing subtlety. A pair of $200 athletic shoes appeared as a welcome gift, followed by invitations to a $500 shopping expedition in Denver's premium districts. The $300 homecoming dress, selected by Jordan's fashion-conscious girlfriend, represented the culmination of their generosity campaign, its designer label suggesting social elevation rather than charity. Sophia's responses maintained military-trained politeness while deflecting their advances with steel-wrapped courtesy. "Thank you for thinking of me, but I'm managing fine on my own," became her standard reply, delivered with respectful authority that offered no openings for further persuasion. She continued eating her pizza with mechanical precision, her homework remaining spread across the table like a defensive perimeter, her body language projecting polite disinterest rather than gratitude. The shift to psychological warfare began when generosity failed to achieve compliance, moving towards social isolation tactics that had broken stronger targets in previous campaigns. Whispered conversations stopped when Sophia approached groups of students. Invitations mysteriously disappeared when her name entered discussion, and casual hallway encounters became exercises in elaborate avoidance. Jordan coordinated the digital assault from his bedroom command center, a setup that rivaled professional streaming operations with multiple monitors displaying deepfake software capable of generating convincing audio and video content from minimal source material. The artificial intelligence algorithms required only 30 seconds of recorded speech to create entirely fabricated conversations that appeared authentic to casual observers. The first manufactured evidence appeared across multiple social media platforms simultaneously, carefully staged photographs of Sophia eating alone overlaid with melancholic music and captions suggesting social rejection. "When you're too weird for friends," accompanied by crying, laughing emojis, accumulated 143 views and 52 shares within 2 hours. Jordan's network of secondary accounts amplified the content across parent Facebook groups and teacher social media circles, creating an echo chamber of manufactured consensus about Sophia's outcast status. Alex's psychological warfare targeted her family situation with surgical precision, spreading carefully crafted rumors about military families struggling with financial hardship. He suggested that Master Sergeant Chen's overseas deployment indicated disciplinary action rather than operational necessity, planting seeds of doubt about her mother's ability to maintain their household stability. The gossip spread through faculty lounges and parent social circles, creating webs of negative perception that extended far beyond student interactions. Lunch table rejections began the following Wednesday, with previously available seats suddenly becoming reserved for upperclassmen only. Students who had made casual conversation with Sophia during hallway encounters now avoided eye contact, their discomfort suggesting they had received warnings about association costs. The social isolation created visible stress markers that Sophia attempted to mask through increased focus on academic performance. Maria Santos noticed the pattern during Sophia's Thursday afternoon visit to Tony's Pizzeria. The 23-year-old shift supervisor recognized military family dynamics from her own childhood as an Air Force dependent, her father's deployment schedules having taught her to identify the particular loneliness that accompanied constant relocation and social rebuilding. She understood how military kids learn to appear self-sufficient while craving normal teenage connections. "Hey, Sophia, I've been watching how you handle these local kids," Maria said during a quiet moment between lunch and dinner rushes. "My dad was military too. I recognize the way you sit, the way you watch everything. These aren't just mean teenagers. This is coordinated harassment, and you're going to need allies who understand what you're dealing with." Maria's military background created instant understanding that transcended age differences, her recognition of Sophia's tactical awareness, providing validation that someone with experience valued her disciplined approach to civilian challenges. The conversation revealed that Sophia's methodical routine and situational awareness had attracted positive attention from someone qualified to recognize their significance. The institutional warfare phase represented escalation targeting Sophia's stability through official channels, demonstrating the group's sophisticated understanding of bureaucratic manipulation. Principal Amanda Foster received anonymous emails detailing concerns about Sophia Chen's adjustment issues and potential signs of trauma-related behavioral problems. The messages originated from professionally crafted Gmail accounts created specifically for official communications, their formal tone suggesting legitimate parental worry rather than coordinated harassment. Dr. Patricia Morrison, the school psychologist and Alex's mother, scheduled mandatory counseling sessions based on these community concerns, her professional credentials providing cover for what amounted to intelligence gathering about Sophia's psychological state and family circumstances. The appointment notice framed the meetings as mental health support rather than disciplinary action, creating administrative paper trails that suggested institutional responsibility rather than targeted harassment. Economic pressure campaigns targeted the Chen family through multiple vectors designed to force relocation without creating obvious harassment patterns. City Council member Victoria Rivera initiated comprehensive review of military housing allowances in civilian communities, questioning whether base families received appropriate oversight when living off installation. The bureaucratic language masked direct attacks on military families' financial stability while maintaining plausible public policy justifications. Master Sergeant Chen received notification of random selection for additional duty assignments requiring extended hours and weekend availability, effectively eliminating his ability to support his family during their crisis. The timing coincided perfectly with Sophia's school troubles, creating maximum stress on family resources and decision-making capacity. His military obligations prevented investigation or response to civilian harassment campaigns targeting his daughter. Sophia's mother lost her part-time position at the community medical center when downsizing requirements necessitated reducing non-essential staff, a termination that occurred 3 days after anonymous complaints about her family's disruptive influence on workplace stability. The clinic administrator expressed genuine regret while explaining that patient feedback and staff concerns required difficult personnel decisions, though the specific nature of those concerns remained carefully unspecified. Officer Michael Torres shared intelligence gathered through informal law enforcement networks, revealing that similar economic pressure campaigns had forced 19 military families to request transfers or early discharge over the past 18 months. The pattern suggested systematic targeting rather than isolated incidents, though documentation always remained within legal boundaries that prevented successful prosecution. We know what's happening, but proving conspiracy requires evidence they're too smart to leave behind, Torres explained during an informal conversation with Maria Santos. These kids have adult guidance teaching them how to operate just inside legal boundaries while destroying lives through institutional pressure. The revelation that she faced not random teenage cruelty, but sophisticated operations designed to cleanse the community of military influence transformed Sophia's understanding of her situation. Her father's counterintelligence training provided context for recognizing asymmetric warfare tactics, though civilian rules of engagement severely limited her response options. Kevin Price approached Sophia during Friday afternoon study hall with desperate energy, suggesting his position in the group depended on successful mission completion. His manufactured concern about his friend's dangerous plans for that evening carried enough genuine fear to indicate he had been excluded from final planning stages. "They're planning something at Tony's around 5 o'clock that could get everyone in serious trouble," he whispered with theatrical urgency. "Meet me in the parking lot first. Maybe we can work something out before they show up." His positioning as reluctant insider provided credibility for intelligence that served the group's strategic objectives while creating artificial time pressure that discouraged careful analysis. Sophia recognized classic manipulation tactics from her father's interrogation resistance training, understanding that the approach offered information in exchange for compliance while establishing false urgency that prevented thoughtful consideration. However, she needed to understand their operational planning to mount effective defense against whatever confrontation they had orchestrated. "What kind of trouble are they planning?" she asked with carefully measured interest, her body language suggesting concern rather than suspicion. Kevin's relief at her apparent cooperation revealed his fear of returning to Marcus empty-handed, confirming that his role involved intelligence gathering rather than decision-making authority. "Jordan's been talking about live streaming something that proves you're dangerous, and Tyler mentioned bringing equipment for self-defense. I think they want to provoke you into looking unstable on camera, so everyone sees you're a threat to student safety," Kevin revealed, his confession providing tactical intelligence about their documentation strategy and weapon preparations. The Friday afternoon timeline crystallized as Sophia processed Kevin's information through tactical analysis frameworks her father had taught her. Their plan required her physical presence at Tony's pizzeria, involved video documentation for legal protection, and included weapons that provided justification for defensive measures. The setup indicated they had moved beyond harassment into entrapment territory, creating scenarios where any response she made would serve their narrative objectives. Sophia agreed to meet Kevin while mentally preparing for combat operations, her decision stemming from operational necessity rather than trust. She recognized that intelligence gathering required accepting calculated risks, and the parking lot meeting provided opportunities to assess their full capabilities before engaging in what amounted to psychological warfare disguised as teenage confrontation. The Tony's Pizzeria parking lot at 5:15 contained exactly the tactical elements Sophia anticipated. Kevin stood alone near the entrance with genuine nervous energy, security cameras positioned to capture approaching vehicles, and multiple sightlines allowing concealed observation of the meeting location. She parked her mother's Toyota Camry with the engine running and driver's door unlocked, maintaining escape options while approaching the intelligence source. "Sophia, thank God you came." Kevin's relief appeared authentic as he glanced repeatedly toward the restaurant entrance. "They paid me $300 to get you here, but I can't go through with what they're planning. Jordan's already streaming live to prove you're violent. Tyler has brass knuckles in his jacket, and Alex brought pepper spray. They want you to attack them on camera so they can claim self-defense while having everything documented." The tactical intelligence confirmed Sophia's operational assessment while revealing coordination levels that suggested adult guidance. The combination of financial incentives, legal documentation, and prepared weapons indicated planning that extended beyond typical teenage capabilities, requiring strategic thinking rather than reactive responses. "Where are they positioned inside?" she asked, while scanning restaurant windows for movement. Kevin's answers provided detailed intelligence about their formation and equipment placement that revealed his participation in reconnaissance phases before developing ethical concerns about the operation's execution. "Marcus is at the counter ordering drinks to look casual. Jordan's at the corner table with his phone set up for optimal streaming angles. Tyler and Alex are in the booth near the restrooms where they can block the back exit if you try to run," Kevin explained, his detailed knowledge confirming he had participated in planning sessions before discovering the true scope of their intentions. Sophia processed the tactical situation with cold military logic inherited from years of security briefings and threat assessments. 4 armed opponents in defensive positions, live stream documentation, providing legal cover for their actions, and physical layout favoring their positioning over her mobility options. The scenario required turning their planned ambush into opportunities for counterintelligence operations that exposed their criminal conspiracy. The dining area at 5:30 contained the exact configuration Kevin had described, with Jordan Walsh's live stream already broadcasting to 68 viewers, including several Riverside High students and adult community members. His professional camera setup suggested serious commitment to documenting whatever confrontation they had orchestrated, the equipment quality indicating significant financial investment in the operation. "Grace is here for what should be an interesting conversation about her recent behavioral issues," Jordan announced to his streaming audience, his commentary designed to establish narrative framework before Sophia could control the conversation's direction. The live chat displayed comments from viewers expecting entertainment rather than understanding they were witnessing documented criminal activity. Sophia entered with tactical awareness, heightened to combat readiness levels, her peripheral vision cataloging exit routes, weapon positions, and potential improvised defensive tools available in the restaurant environment. The layout provided limited cover, but multiple environmental advantages for someone trained in close-quarters combat techniques. She approached Jordan's streaming setup with measured steps that suggested calm confidence rather than intimidation or fear, addressing his camera directly with the clear diction her father had taught her for crisis communications. "Hi everyone, I'm Sophia Chen. These 4 students lured me here using threats and false information. Jordan Walsh is streaming from account Jordan Streams 2024, and they've brought weapons to attack a minor on livestream for social media content. The tactical reversal caught Marcus Rivera and his team completely unprepared for a response that reframed the encounter as documented evidence of premeditated assault rather than teenage confrontation. Their script assumed Sophia would respond defensively to their accusations, providing content that supported their victim narrative. Instead, she had transformed their livestream into prosecution evidence against their own criminal conspiracy. Here's what brass knuckles look like when someone brings them to threaten a student, Sophia continued while pointing toward Tyler's jacket pocket, her military bearing commanding attention from Jordan's increasingly confused audience. The livestream chat exploded, with comments demanding police intervention and expressing shock at visible weapons being used to threaten a younger girl. "I'm 16 years old, and these 18-year-old students coordinated an armed attack for social media entertainment," she announced with calm authority that contrasted sharply with their obvious agitation. Jordan panicked as his livestream audience turned hostile, comments demanding explanations for why older students were threatening a younger girl with concealed weapons. "She's lying. We're the victims here," Jordan shouted while fumbling with phone controls, his attempt to end the broadcast failing as 134 viewers began screen recording what appeared to be documented assault preparation. His technical expertise abandoned him under pressure, the very skills he had used to torment other students, now working against his interests. Tyler's brass knuckles became visible as he moved towards Sophia with the confident swagger of someone who had never faced real resistance, his substantial size advantage creating overconfidence that military training had taught her to exploit. "Time to show everyone what happens when military brats think they're tough," he announced, while pulling his hand from his jacket pocket, the metal gleaming under fluorescent lighting as livestream viewers gasped and began typing police department phone numbers in chat comments. The physical confrontation lasted 39 seconds, according to security camera timestamps and live stream metadata, though its psychological impact extended far beyond the brief exchange. Sophia's defensive stance reflected years of martial arts training as Tyler swung his brass knuckles in a wide arc, designed more for intimidation than tactical effectiveness. Her duck and pivot movement used his momentum against him, sending his 200-pound frame into the corner table with enough force to scatter Jordan's streaming equipment across the floor. Alex's pepper spray deployment hit Marcus instead of Sophia due to poor coordination and panic-induced targeting errors, creating friendly fire casualties that provided immediate karmic justice. Livestream viewers celebrated in real-time comments. Marcus's screams of pain echoed through the restaurant as chemical burns affected his eyes and respiratory system. The irony of the situation, creating dramatic content for Jordan's accidentally continued broadcast. "I called 911 during our parking lot meeting," Kevin announced as sirens became audible in the distance, his voice carrying relief at finally choosing the correct side in an impossible situation. "Sophia, I'm sorry. They threatened to get me expelled if I didn't help them, but this isn't right." His confession provided testimony, establishing premeditation and conspiracy charges against the other 4 participants. Sophia maintained defensive positioning until law enforcement arrived, her hands visible and posture suggesting professional training rather than street fighting experience. Officer Torres entered with backup support and immediately began reviewing Jordan's livestream footage on his department tablet, the evidence collection simplified by their own documentation of criminal activity. "Well, this makes our job easy," Torres observed, while watching Tyler's unprovoked attack captured in high-definition video. Assault with deadly weapon, conspiracy, and about 6 federal crimes related to targeting military families. Plus, they documented everything themselves for us. The medical response revealed consequences none of the conspirators had anticipated when planning their social media ambush. Tyler required hospital transport for concussion symptoms from his table impact, while Marcus needed emergency treatment for chemical burns that threatened permanent vision damage. Alex's panic attack intensified when he realized that pepper spraying his own teammate on livestream provided perfect evidence of incompetent criminal conspiracy. Officer Torres's investigation expanded rapidly as federal authorities took interest in systematic harassment of military families, with FBI cybercrime specialists examining Jordan's deepfake evidence and digital stalking documentation. The brass knuckles charge elevated Tyler's assault to felony level, while the coordinated nature of their campaign suggested conspiracy charges carrying serious adult sentencing guidelines. The livestream evidence created ironclad prosecution material that eliminated any possibility of plea bargaining or character witness mitigation, with 134 people having witnessed and recorded premeditated assault with weapons. The video documentation provided federal prosecutors with evidence that supported charges under multiple statutes protecting military families from systematic harassment. The Chen family's case became the breakthrough, exposing an 18-month conspiracy designed to force military families out of communities near defense installations. Principal Foster submitted her resignation when federal investigators reviewed disciplinary files and discovered systematic bias favoring harassment perpetrators over their victims. Dr. Morrison faced professional licensing review for providing psychological cover for her son's criminal activities. The institutional protection network collapsed as each participant distanced themselves from what federal prosecutors classified as organized criminal conspiracy targeting military families for corporate benefit. Investigation revealed that defense contractor Summit Holdings consistently benefited from military family relocations that resulted in cancelled civilian housing contracts and increased on-base housing demands they managed exclusively. Victory's true cost became apparent over following weeks as the Chen family faced impossible choices between pursuing justice and maintaining stability. Master Sergeant Chen received transfer orders to Fort Braxton, North Carolina, citing mission-critical personnel requirements that could not be delayed for civilian legal proceedings. Military institutional loyalty provided protection but required geographic relocation that separated Sophia from the community she had fought to defend. The economic retaliation continued despite criminal convictions against harassment perpetrators, with local businesses expressing concerns about hiring someone whose family attracted controversy and legal complications. Military families learned that victory in civilian courts didn't guarantee community acceptance or economic security in areas where anti-military sentiment ran deeper than surface politeness suggested. The emotional cost manifested in Sophia's loss of innocence about civilian-military relations and the discovery that her tactical skills created fear rather than respect among potential friends. Her reputation as someone capable of violence made normal teenage social interactions impossible, the price of defending herself including acceptance of isolation from peer relationships she had hoped to build. Maria Santos received promotion to regional manager as Tony's Pizzeria corporate recognized her role in protecting a military family from systematic harassment. Her new position included responsibility for creating military support programs across multiple restaurant locations, providing hope that individual actions could create institutional change despite broader community resistance. Sophia's legal testimony helped convict 22 participants in what federal prosecutors described as the largest military family harassment conspiracy in Colorado history. The $3.7 million civil settlement provided financial security, but could not restore the psychological damage inflicted on multiple families over 18 months of coordinated attacks. The arrival of Isabella Rodriguez at Fort Braxton created opportunities for Sophia to discover the true scope of national operations targeting military families. Their first conversation in the base commissary revealed parallel experiences suggesting systematic coordination across multiple states, with defense contractors benefiting from military family displacement through civilian harassment campaigns. "Riverside was our fourth assignment in 3 years," Isabella confided during their initial meeting. "Same pattern every time. Social media harassment, institutional pressure, economic retaliation designed to force us back onto base housing, where contractors control everything from rent to maintenance to food service." The intelligence sharing between Sophia and Isabella revealed 63 similar incidents documented across 15 states, creating comprehensive pictures of conspiracy that federal investigators had struggled to document through traditional methods. Their youth and insider perspectives provided access to social media evidence and peer networks that adult law enforcement could not penetrate effectively. The partnership between military dependents became counterintelligence assets that threatened entire operations, designed to weaken military families' civilian connections. Corporate interests had never anticipated facing organized resistance from the teenagers they had systematically targeted for harassment and displacement. Isabella's proposal for exposing the national conspiracy provided Sophia with purpose that transformed trauma into tactical advantage, her hard-won experience becoming foundation for protecting other military families from similar attacks. Fort Stewart, Georgia is their next target. 4 more families under coordinated attack right now. Time to take this fight to them, Isabella concluded with quiet determination, characterizing military families who had learned to fight institutional battles. The final phase established Sophia's evolution from defensive victim to proactive protector, her tactical skills and experience providing tools for defending other military families facing systematic harassment campaigns. The personal cost of her victory became foundation for preventing similar attacks against future targets, creating networks of military dependence that corporate interests had never anticipated confronting. The scope of their success extended far beyond individual justice to expose systematic operations designed to weaken military families' integration into civilian communities. Federal investigation revealed corporate conspiracy spanning multiple states and involving hundreds of participants, from teenage harassment campaigns to adult institutional manipulation, designed to force military families into isolated on-base housing, controlled by defense contractors seeking increased profits through captive populations. Sophia's transformation from isolated military dependent to counterintelligence operative represented victory that transcended personal survival to become systematic defense of military families facing coordinated civilian harassment. Her tactical awareness and combat training, initially sources of isolation from civilian peers, became assets protecting other military children from psychological warfare disguised as teenage bullying. The network they established provided early warning systems that identified harassment campaigns before they reached dangerous levels, creating protective frameworks that allowed military families to maintain civilian community integration while defending against systematic attempts to force their isolation. The corporate conspiracy that had seemed invulnerable to adult investigation crumbled when faced with organized resistance from the very teenagers it had targeted for destruction. Through careful documentation and tactical response, military dependents learned to turn harassment campaigns into federal evidence that exposed broader criminal conspiracies designed to profit from their displacement. The victory represented not just individual survival, but systematic change that protected military families' right to civilian community participation without facing coordinated harassment designed to force their relocation to contractor-controlled on-base housing. The intelligence networks established through these experiences continued expanding across military communities, creating protective systems that identified and neutralized harassment campaigns before they achieved their objectives of family displacement and community isolation. Corporate conspirators discovered that their systematic targeting of military children had created exactly the organized resistance capable of exposing and defeating their profitable operations.